5 minutes at this time.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and apologize for having technical difficulties on my end, but I appreciate your leadership for holding this hearing today. I wanted to ask the witnesses, many communities around the country have been experiencing an uptick in crime, and some people are concerned that maybe that uptick is due to early release programs because of the pandemic. And I wanted to know if there is any data about what is happening to the people who were released. Have they gone out and engaged in new crimes? And have they been reincarcerated, as opposed to what the witness described earlier, which was technical because of the problem with her ankle bracelet? I wanted to know about people who have been released because of the pandemic, and if there is evidence, documentation that they have gotten out and been involved in crimes. Also, people who were released not just because of the pandemic, but because of compassionate release. So, Dr. Goodwin, maybe you could respond.
Thank you for that question, Congresswoman. So GAO hasn't looked at that issue yet. It's something that we can certainly work with your office if it's something you want GAO to look into, but we don't have a lot of information on that right now.
Can any of the other witnesses speak to that?
If I may.
Yes.
If I may, I know that in the December 21st, 2021 Attorney General memorandum that reversed the decision that individuals on home confinement had to be sent back to prison, the Attorney General cites a very specific number of people who have been on CARES Act home confinement who were returned to prison. And that number is 289. So thinking about the fact that there were 36,000 people placed on home confinement, 289 is a very small number to have returned. And it's my understanding that the Bureau of Prisons, in fact, has the data that breaks that down even further into people who were returned for technical violations and people who were returned for new crimes. And it's my understanding that the people who were returned for new crimes is relatively small. I mean, we're talking less than 10 people. In terms of the compassionate release data, I do not have that.
So 289, you cannot distinguish whether those were new crimes or just technical?
There's no public data that indicates whether they were new crimes or technical. I do know that there was something published in April of 2021. A gentleman named Ames Grawert from the Brennan Center of Justice indicated that there were 3 who had been returned as of April 2021 for new crimes. But again, the Bureau of Prisons has that data. It cited that data in a memo that it submitted to the Attorney General's office, and I would urge this committee to ask for that data from the Bureau of Prisons.
Thank you. I would appreciate that. Dr. Venters?
I don't have any information on that question. I apologize.
Okay. All right. I appreciate that. The witness that described being violated because of the technical problem with the ankle bracelet, I wanted to know if you could elaborate a little more. When it was discovered that it was a technical problem, was there any consideration given to that at all?
What happened is that my attorney brought in evidence to show that I had been attending a class that I had previously attended, and it was acknowledged that I had attended that class before. My case manager at the halfway house did not follow through, I believe, and it was.
Well, didn't you say that? Didn't you say that it wasn't just a matter of you attending class, but that your ankle bracelet didn't work?
Yes, and several times my ankle bracelet didn't work, and that's happening to the thousands of people who are out. Your ankle bracelet will ping when you're at different places. Your ankle bracelet will ping when you're home. It's sometimes when you're being called, there are people who speak a foreign language that you can hardly understand who are calling.
What is your situation today?
My situation today is that I am been released on compassionate release by my judge as a result of the cry that was given out by me being reincarcerated. But again, I say, the people who are on compassionate release are out right now attempting to do just what I did, try to gather themselves back together, try to reunite themselves with their family. They're taking classes, they're buying homes, they're going back to school, they're doing all these kind of things. And the threat, thankfully, was just removed from over their heads by Judge Garland. So we really appreciate that. But there's so much that can be done towards giving these people compassionate release, because not just technicalities, most people are not committing new crimes, as the lady said before. The level of new crimes being committed by people on compassionate release is almost minute. 10, less than 20 people, probably out of thousands of people.
Well, I do wish you success in the future. Thank you.
Yep.
Yield back, Madam Chair.
Your lady's time has expired. Thank you for